Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new, I'm Stephanie and this is Living Allison. So today I want to do a type of video that I personally haven't seen before. I looked everywhere on YouTube and I couldn't find anything really like it. I want to do a birth experience comparison. So for those of you that are new, I'm Stephanie. Hi, welcome to my channel. And I have 4 children. I have 2 boys and 2 girls. And I just kind of wanted to do like a Q&A on my pregnancy, labor, and delivery, and like comparing all of them and how they differed. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to compare everything and like, just answer some questions and, give you a little insight on how different pregnancies really can be. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? Okay, so I'm gonna start by comparing all my pregnancies. So I have a few questions here that I'm just gonna be answering, and then I'm gonna give the answer for each pregnancy and how they differed. So first question is, how much weight did you gain? Well, with my first one, I gained 44 pounds. And my second one, I gained 35 pounds. My third one, I gained 25 pounds, and my fourth one I gained, I think it was like 15 or 20 pounds. I'm not exactly sure. And I had 2 boys first, then I had 2 girls, just so you know. Did I have any cravings? Not really with any of them. I mean, I would crave like a certain candy bar here and there, but nothing like worth documenting or like remembering like specifically, oh, I craved this. Hi. Hi, Lee. But yeah, nothing worth documenting. I had just normal cravings like, ooh, this sounds good, or ooh, this sounds good, but nothing like specifically that I remember with any of them. Morning sickness. With the boys, I did not have any morning sickness at all, and with the girls, I had like all day nausea. Nothing like severe or anything like that. I did lose some weight with the girls in the beginning due to the nausea and like not being able to eat, but it only lasted like the first couple months. It was nothing like some of these women I know get. But yeah, just like the nausea and food sounding gross and stuff, So that was all. For the boys, nothing at all. For the girls, definitely the nausea. Were they planned pregnancies? The 2 boys were not planned. Obviously, I was 19 when I had my first son, so he was not planned. My second was not planned either. I was on birth control after my first son, and then I had gotten off birth control and needed to switch it, and I never did, and baby number 2. And then with the girls, they actually both were planned. So 3 and 4 were planned. We decided we wanted to try for a third, not caring if it was a girl or a boy. And then actually when I was pregnant with our third, we had already decided. Get out of here.
That distraction?
Yes. I can hear your crinkling.
Sorry, you do.
So yeah, so with the third, I was pregnant with the third. We had actually already decided that we wanted a fourth. So my girls are 18 months apart, or they're 17, almost 18 months apart. I wanted to knock out the fourth one. I didn't want there to be a big age gap like all the other ones have. I wanted them to be close and done, and that's it. Like, I didn't want to drag it out any longer. So the last 2 were planned. Which pregnancy was the best and which one was the worst? I would have to say my best one was the first one. I didn't have any pain during the pregnancy, no, other than the waking, which that really sucked. Other than that, it was like smooth sailing. I could do anything. I never got tired, never sore, never any Braxton Hicks or anything like that. So it was really, that one was really, really easy. And my worst one would definitely, hands down, be my last pregnancy. It was terrible. I can't even describe the pain that I was in from like 15 weeks up until the day that she came. I was miserable. And not only was I in pain physically, I was depressed almost the whole entire time. I had never suffered depression during any of my pregnancies before. It's like a pre-partum depression. It's like postpartum depression, but it's while you're pregnant, and it was terrible. I suffered through it probably from month 3 all the way up until like month 8, and then around like 35 weeks or so I started feeling a little bit better mentally, which was nice, but it was a real struggle. I've never dealt with anything like that. I mean, I've suffered from anxiety and depression in the past, but being pregnant and having depression and having 3 kids and a husband also, it was definitely a struggle, but that's a whole other video. So that was definitely my worst pregnancy, was my last one. Okay, so that's it for like the pregnancy part. Now on to the labor and delivery part. So to start off, question number 1 is, were you induced or did you go into labor on your own? Were you early or late? Water break, contractions, etc. So I was not induced with any 4 of my children, which I am blessed to say that. My first one, I went into labor on his due date, and he was born on his due date, and that was just contractions, back labor, went in, had him that same day. And my second, he was 9 days early. I think he was about 9 days early, and same thing, just contractions, went in, had him. So, and then my third one, I was actually a week overdue, and I was scheduled to be induced on exactly 41 weeks and at 7 a.m. and 3 hours before I was to go in to get induced, my water broke at 4 a.m. in the middle of the night. So that was really, it was interesting because my water never broke before. So it was kind of a cool experience getting to experience like your water breaking, even though mine wasn't just like a leak. It was gushing everywhere, and I had to wear a towel around between my legs, TMI. But yeah, it was a mess, let's just say that. But yeah, so my water broke and then went in. So I was very thankful that I didn't have to get induced. I was very, very afraid of getting induced. So I was really thankful that didn't have to happen. And then my last one, she came 4 days early, and it was just contractions. I actually had contractions all day long. I went in at 1 p.m. They sent me home at 4 p.m. I went back at 7 p.m. and had her at like 8 p.m. So yeah, they didn't believe me that I was in labor because their machines weren't picking up my contractions. So yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, did you have natural labors or did you have epidurals, and how were your experiences with the natural or epidural? Well, I've had 2 epidurals and I've had 2 naturals. My first and last were natural, and my 2 in the middle were epidurals. The reason why I had the epidural the second time after having a natural birth was because I screamed, cussed, cried. I popped all the blood vessels in my face and my eyes from being traumatized because I was not prepared to have a natural birth, even though it's what I really, really wanted. I was not prepared at all. So my mom and my husband were in the room with me, and they had told me when I got pregnant with my second, if you want us in the room, you better get an epidural, because I'm not. They were traumatized, let's just say that. So they're one reason why I got the epidural, and also because of my son. If he's in the room with me during the labor process, not delivery, but just like the labor process, I didn't want him to see me in pain, and I wanted it to be enjoyable for all of us, since the first time around was not enjoyable at all. It was miserable. So the second time around, I wanted it to be more calm and relaxed and me not freaking out. So that's how we did that. And then the third one, same thing. I wanted to enjoy it, and just everyone be calm and chill and not be traumatized by my screaming. And then with my fourth, the reason why I had it natural was not by choice. It was because I had got to the hospital and I was so far dilated. I was a 6. I had her within an hour of getting to the hospital, so I didn't have time to get an epidural, even if I wanted one. So I did the whole labor thing and didn't even have time for the epidural. She just came out. I wasn't even expecting her to come out. She just fell out onto the bed, to be honest. But that's a whole other story. Her birth story, seriously, is so crazy. I can make a whole other video about that. Let me know if you want to hear about that one. Anyways, and how were your experiences with each? My first natural one was traumatizing, and my other natural birth wasn't traumatizing. It was just painful, and I was really wanting the epidural, but it was fine, honestly. It wasn't a big deal. It was good. I'm okay. My body was sore from being so squinched and in pain, but I'm proud of myself that I did it twice. And then with the epidurals, the thing that I learned, now for you girls that are women that don't have children yet or think about getting an epidural, is let the epidural wear off a little bit. And the reason why is because with my first epidural, I was so numb that I couldn't feel anything, and I am a terrible pusher, and I couldn't feel what I was doing. I couldn't feel anything, which is good, but it definitely was an issue when it came to pushing, because I didn't know, I couldn't tell where I was, which way I was pushing. So that definitely made it harder. So the second time when I had the epidural with my daughter, they made me make the epidural wear off a little bit, and that way I was able to literally feel her moving down. I could feel the way I was pushing. I was way more in tune with my body, so it helped a lot. I didn't feel really any pain, just pressure, but letting the epidural wear off a little bit definitely will help, because you're able to kind of feel what's going on without being in so much pain, if that makes sense. So that's that. And how long were your labors? My first one was about, I'd say about 10 hours. Second one, probably about 7 hours. Third one, probably about 7 hours. And my fifth one is probably about 6 hours, 5 hours from start to finish. So not too bad. I got lucky with the labor part, the hours. How long did you push? For the first 3 was probably about 25-30 minutes. Like I said, I'm not a very good pusher. But yeah, probably about between 20 and 30 minutes for the first 3. And then my fourth, I didn't even push, honestly. She kind of just came out during I had a contraction, and she just came out, and we were not expecting her to come. I went from a 7. She checked me, and I was a 7, and the very next contraction, her head came out. So we weren't expecting that at all. And then the next contraction after that, the rest of her came out onto the bed. No one was prepared at all. The doctor wasn't even there. He was getting his gloves on in the hallway, getting ready to come in to check me. So yeah, I didn't technically even push. I just kind of was ah, and because it freaked me out that she was coming, but I didn't even really push. So that's another crazy part to her birth. Did I feel crowning or the ring of fire? Obviously with the first one I did. The epidurals, I didn't feel it, just some pressure, didn't feel it. And then with my fourth, I honestly didn't feel it either. I felt like her head coming out and like a little bit of a burning feeling, but it happened so fast that I was in so much pain from being in labor that was nothing to me. Did you tear or get stitches? I did tear with all four, and I got stitches with all four. I got like 2 stitches each time, nothing crazy, no like episiotomies or anything, just slight tearing, and just like 2 stitches every time, I think it was. So yeah. Which labor and delivery was easiest and which one was the hardest? My first one, my labor and delivery, was the hardest because, like I said, I was not prepared for a natural birth. I was like, even though it's what I wanted, I was still young and inexperienced, and I just wasn't expecting it, and so it was pretty traumatizing. So that one was probably my hardest, and my easiest was probably with my third, because my water broke. I had some contractions, but then I got the epidural, and it was just kind of like relaxing. And then when I pushed, it was very calm. I was very, very in tune with my body. I was literally able to feel her like move down and down and down and like into the birth canal. It was pretty, it sounds weird, but it was pretty amazing experience, honestly. Like literally being able to feel your baby like coming out without there being any pain. It's literally like mind-blowing. It was amazing, honestly. That's all I have to say. So that was probably my easiest, and the hardest was my first. How much did they weigh and how long were they? My oldest was 7 pounds 6 ounces and 20 inches. My second son was 7 pounds 6 ounces also, but he was 21 inches. My daughter Macy was 7 pounds 8 ounces, and she was 19 3/4 inches. And my little tiniest last baby Emma was 6 pounds 4.5 ounces and 18 and a half inches. So she was my smallest for sure. Who was in the room? My mom and husband were in the room with me the first 3. With my fourth, it was just my husband. How were your recoveries? Every recovery got easier and easier and easier. So, you know, they were all really easy. I didn't have any complications, nothing like that. They were all really simple. And my last recovery was like, I was good in like a couple days. At least I felt like it. But yeah, the more kids you have, the faster the recovery is. That's for sure. For me anyways. What did you like about each labor and birth? Nothing specific. They were all overall, they were pretty good. What I liked the most was basically just having my babies be born. Honestly, that's, no matter the pain and all the problems you can go through and the traumatic experience you just went through, having your child in your arms after 9 months makes it all worth it. And you're literally, as soon as that baby is born, you don't feel any pain anymore. It makes it so worth it, and it's so rewarding. It's like, for me personally, I would go through that pain 100 times over and over again just to have my sons and my daughters in my arms. Honestly, it's just so rewarding. It's worth it, and I would do it over and over again. What did I dislike about each one? The first one, I didn't like that I was traumatized from not having an epidural. Second one was not being able to feel at all anything. The third, there was nothing that I disliked at all. That was a good one. That was a really good, the whole experience was amazing. And the fourth one was just I wasn't as good as it went and as fast as it went. It just happened so fast that it didn't even give me a chance to like realize what was going on. Like she was born in a matter of seconds and she was laying on the bed and everybody was just looking at her. No one knew what to do. Like she was just on the bed and no one had gloves on. My husband was getting ready to grab her and then the nurse grabbed her, and it was just like, it just happened so fast, and I just kept saying, oh my God, is this like, what the F just happened? Is this real? Like she just fell out and no one was ready. Like all of a sudden I'm like, ah, and then she came out. That was the only thing that was, it's not that I disliked it. It was just like, it just happened so fast that I didn't get to like soak it in. You know what I'm saying? And it for being my last, it's like, oh my gosh, that was the end of that, you know? It was just like over and I didn't even realize what the heck just happened. So yeah, that's nothing too dramatic. Everything, I've always had good doctors and good nurses and everything like that. So last question, and a friend of mine asked me this question specifically. She wanted to know. She asked, how do you like the age gaps of your children? So again, my firstborn and my secondborn are 4 years apart. My second and third are almost 4 years apart, and my third and fourth are almost 18 months apart. And I love it. I like the age gap. It's just difficult because I am a parent to 4 different children. Like, I mean, 4 different children that are in 4 different stages of life. So I have a preteen, I have a 9-year-old, I have a 5-year-old, an almost 2-year-old, and a almost 5-month-old. So it's kind of like I'm a mom. They're all different. They're all in different stages of life, and I can't treat them all the same. So that's the only part that gets difficult, but it's nice having 2 kids that are very self-sufficient, and then having 2 little ones, you know, that need me, obviously. So I do like it overall, but the struggle that I am preparing myself for is the fact that when one graduates high school, one's going to be going into high school, and then when that one graduates, the boys I'm talking about, I'm still going to have kids in elementary school. And for me personally, I went through this in my childhood. I am the second oldest of 4 children, and it was me and my brother. We were older and we had younger siblings. And so when we were off doing our own thing, you know, teenager stuff and being in high school and being with our friends, we had younger siblings at home still. And we were never there for them. We were always out doing our thing, and it sucks. Looking back on it now, I wish that it wasn't like that. I missed out a lot on their childhood, and I regret that a lot. But you know, I was a teenager. I didn't know that I was doing anything wrong at all. So that's the only thing that I want to make sure doesn't happen. As my kids get older, I want to make sure that I keep us all as close as I can for as long as I can. And yeah, I just want to make sure that my girls have their brothers while they're doing their own thing. Just because I personally experienced it, I was the one that was never there, you know. So I just want to make sure that my boys are always going to be there for their younger siblings, because me and my older brother weren't always there. And you know, I can't speak for him, but I know that it sucked that he wasn't there, and I can't speak for my little brother and little sister, but I know that it wasn't fun for them either, and I know that it affects them also. And I just, you know, as a parent now, I'm like, okay, like I'm learning what to do and what not to do. So that's the only thing about I kind of went on a little rant there, but that's the only thing about the age gaps that I want to make sure that, you know, doesn't happen. Other than that, the age gaps are good. I'm good with it. But yeah, I just want to make sure that we all stay together. I'm going to be forcing my teenagers to like go to play dates and stuff. I don't know. But yeah, so that's the end of this video. I hope you guys liked it. It was really fun answering these questions. I hope that I'm not like too boring or anything, but it's a lot of kids to like review and compare. So sorry if it's like a mouthful, but, and oh my God. So that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!